Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. We're playing this human assassin of HuAs for the 0.18 release tournament. And for the moment, it's just you and me. Rose needed a nap, and I still want to get this character finished today. She says she'll be back later at some point. I'm not sure. I took a break for lunch as well, but she's still asleep. Reasonable. I think we're going to take a stab at finishing up Blair. I was just looking over my my skills here, trying to decide if I like the way this is all going. I'm really committing to shields here, which is a little bit of a, I don't know. It's helping a lot now. I just worry that it's all going to be wasted experience when we eventually are forced to switch away from the Shield of the Gong. But I don't know, maybe we could just make the shield work indefinitely, like and use Fedhas's noisy abilities like the explosions without concern. I don't know. I think for now I'm okay with it. Yeah. Let's get going. Let's actually take off the shield. We decided that it's a bad idea to use that on stairs. Although, also stair dancing was good. Where is everything? Scrolls of Enchant Weapon. I'm thinking I probably should not be using these on my greatsword because there's some possibility that that's not the weapon I'll be using, and it's not helping me right now. A rod, huh? What is all this crap I'm carrying? Forget the hunting sling. Get out of here. Iron rod. Okay. Another noisy tool. See, we're kind of fine without the Shield of the Gong in a lot of spots. I guess the problem is when we get, like this happens, right? When there's monsters on several sides of us. In a kill hole, or even just a narrow corridor, we seem relatively capable of handling what the dungeon can throw at us. It's just a question of like what to do out in the open, I think. And the Shield of the Gong is often making things worse instead of better. But it's so fun. And so I should also remember to use sunlight more often. See, this area is now lit by a halo, so the spiny frog will be easier to hit. And it's free, right? It costs like nothing to use some sunlight. So we should be using it pretty regularly. Costs a little bit of MP, but we're not using that for anything. Let's just eat this beef jerky right off the ground. I'm sure it's perfectly fine. Where do I want to be for this? There's a great little kill hole right here, actually. Of course, in the meantime, my wandering mushroom is going to have a bit of a rough day. All right, there we go. He confused him a bit, long enough for me to get in there and finish him off. Even with poison resistance, we got hit with a lot of poison that way. I'm not sure how poison and armor interact. I think the amount of damage applied to you, if they hit, the amount of poison damage added, that is, scales with the amount of damage they would do if you had no armor. So it's sort of like I really don't want to be that close to the Hydra. But I also need to kill off. Alright, that worked. I was talking about poison damage. I don't know. So I think that's why we're getting so badly poisoned is monsters are applying damage to us and we're protecting against most of it with our with our armor. But then, since they're hitting us, the poison gets through as if they had done full damage, and it adds a bunch of poison. Yeah, ignore that, I guess. Let's wear the Shield of the Gong now. There's not much left on the floor, I think. And I don't super mind if it knows where we are. Yeah, because we're getting this big bonus. Yeah, 1 mushroom should help. That's... I expected AA to target toadstools over plants. But I guess it's fine. We used up some fruit. We still have plenty. And it is a Hydra. It's probably a reasonable play, even if I hadn't made it on purpose. A distant splash. That should be a monster falling into water. Or something. An item falling into water. There's water up here. But nothing should have fallen in. Weird. Take off the shield. It's still a problem. We'll just wear it and stare dance. Alright, there's nothing to stare dance on, so let's take it off. Yaks we can handle one at a time anyway. They don't seem to understand that they can attack the toadstools. Normally they do that, I thought. If we had a bunch of Fedhas piety, we could consider trying to start a spore farm here. But I'm not sure if it's worth spending the piety right now, and there's no monsters that are obviously a problem. I'd rather save piety for layer 8, I think. To build that spore farm. Let's try to get this guy upstairs. Oh, we got just a couple of these guys upstairs. That's fine. And die? Boy, this short sword does not pack a lot of a punch, does it? We are wearing the shield. Very good. Down we go. And up. We must be getting kind of close, I think, to having 5 pips of piety. But maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I just want, like, as much as I can. And right now the wandering mushrooms are not being that helpful, honestly, because we get into so many situations where they can't really do much of anything. Yeah, let's go upstairs, though, and rest. We'll be back to deal with the elephant in a moment. Weird things you might hear in a commercial. You know, they say, like, we'll be right back after a message from our sponsors. We'll be right back to deal with the elephant. Just things I was thinking. Alright, that was probably not all of the monsters. Oh, hello, slime. Not all of the monsters in layer 7 by a long shot, but it was a sizable chunk of them, like elephants and so on. Let's see, that must be Josephine, right? Obviously the Wraith isn't Josephine, but it indicates the Josephine. Oh, these are plants. Ugh. the contrast of like that gray on white or whatever it is not very high. And I thought they were just like walls or something. Yeah, Josephine, of course. We don't want to fight her in a big group. So up we go, and our negative energy resistance is actually really high. The Shield of the Gong has negative energy. That's surprising. We should be just like totally fine against Josephine, I think. Her spells like shouldn't even be able to hurt us. Well, I guess it doesn't do purely negative damage, but it does some physical damage, which we resist pretty well just by virtue of we're having a heavy shield and good armor. Well, not a shield. You can't block fireballs. Do I chop this up? No, I still have plenty of food. We want to work on piety. Don't trick yourself into this false economy of like, hey, whoops, uh-oh. Now I left an Oclob plant somewhere, didn't I? Where? I don't know. There's no real way to see on the map as far as I'm aware. Let's just tab this guy and see what happens. It's the thing about blocking is the more attacks there are per turn, so every time you block an attack, between now and your next turn, your shield is reduced. So it's sort of like it doesn't scale. Yay, 5 pips. Now I'm not super keen on creating any water right now, although it's a very strong debuff to have enemies in shallow water. And you can use deep water to actually create impassable terrain for them if you've got enough piety to spare. So, I mean, it's strong for sure. But I'm just glad to be at 5 stars because it means we can use our 4-star ability somewhat more freely on layer 7 or layer 8. Yeah, the Shield of the Gong I think is pretty good as long as we're carefully and diligently is the word I was looking for. Stair dancing. The extra noise doesn't seem to be that big a deal. Okay, not going to stair dance this guy. Let's see how much noise we hear. 3 bellows. Not too bad. There's a bunch of bellowing, so that's probably yaks. Could be sheep. Could be death yaks too. It looks like yaks. A torpor snail I don't like much. Oh, we could evolve that, I suppose. I would want to get out of range first. Or reproduce it, I should say. Oh, you get to, I forgot, you get to do all of them. Yes. Make spores. Where are they? Hello? Did I fail? I failed, okay. We need more invo to make reproduction work more reliably. Yes! Look at it, it's beautiful. They're all confused. Where are the... That's about ballistomacete, and the other one is here. All right, that's fine. I could spend a little piety to make this one become hyperactive, but I don't want to be standing near it when I do. Wow, getting some lag there. Come back. My cursor is just moving super slow. All right, this is better. Oh, this poor Wraith. Any minute now, that thing's gonna explode on him. Nice. All right. But let's get to the stairs. We'll let this thing, it's gonna create a bit of a mess. Hopefully there'll be spores all over the level, just as a result of using that one reproduce and one evolve. They sort of spread, I think. I don't know exactly how it works, but there's mold, right? So, I don't know, that makes more ballistomocetes grow. Drop, we're not really using the blowgun anymore, I guess, but we're definitely not using the iron rod at 0 evo. It's just not that impressive. Potions of flight, good to know about, I suppose. All right, Death Yaks. I'd like to lure him back to my trap if I can. Or just avoid him until such time as I happen to encounter something near the trap. There he is, up there. Let's go this way. This is a reasonable path back to my trap. Is it still operating? It looks like yes. It looks like, though, something killed the hyperactive one. Okay, that's fine, I guess. We'll just step through here and activate this one. What happened to the yak? Did he get confused? And walk away? There he is. Oh, I see he's going around. That's sneaky. It's going to make it a little bit tricky for me to get out, actually. I've now backed myself into a corner on like the other side of that whatever this is. So one is hyperactive, and then there's another active one, I guess? I'm not sure exactly what the distinction is. I see. So it looks like they're sort of temporary. They gradually blow themselves up. I didn't realize that. But in the meantime, it put out a bunch of spores and a bunch of mold, and it's going to create more spores that'll float around the level and spread mold. Like, I don't know if just making one is enough to really influence the whole level, but it might be. I need an Aklob plant, I think, for a bunch of blink frogs. Maybe I didn't, but now I have one. And that's fine. Fruit is not in such short supply that I need to worry about it, right? I mean, like, there's dozens of fruits. What else can we drop? Meat. Wand of Heal Wounds. All right. Another game I'm sure I'll be just very embarrassed to die for some reason or other. Let's pull him up to the Aklob plant. And got him. Drop these like junk amulets that I'm still carrying. I think 4 Winds is really better than any of those are going to be. Identify heal wounds, so we have that available without wasting it. I'm going to have to like watch a TV of that's the recordings are generally called TVs because they're played on HuTV of one of Jeefus's games where like I watched the end of one where just like Orc 2 was just completely covered wall to wall fungus carpeting from him using reproduction a lot, and I wonder like how much he had to spam it because I sort of expected it would be happening somewhat more easily, just use it once or twice, and it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be confined to the area where I actually used it is where the main effects are happening. And it would be nice to have it just like spread all over the place, don't you think? All right, how do we do? Water moccasin and the crocodile. I can take those upstairs, no problem. Here's some more stuff to take upstairs. So like I mentioned in my last playthrough, I think I don't do enough stair dancing. I forget that it's a tactic, and therefore in situations where it would be useful, I sometimes forget it. So like right now, it seems like it's sort of trivializing this whole area, which is nice. I'm not sure what the ice beasts are about. It seems weird to find those. See here, look, it's a giant spore spawned by one of our ballistomacetes. Just sort of running around, covering the whole level with more ballistomacetes, which will create more spores, is sort of the idea. Let's get a mushroom here. I don't really like the polar bear. Fine. That's not a ton of piety to make a mushroom. I think it may be about time to try a different staircase. That one has several monsters that are sort of closed in, uncomfortably close to it. And more, I'm sure, on the way because of the siren song of the shield of the gong. Well, there's a little rhyme, not quite on purpose, but it's nice. Not too it's quite apropos and not too punny. Not too corny, maybe. I mean, punny obviously is the word I meant, but I don't know if it was the right word. Yeah, we can take blink frogs up like this, no problem. And we'll just get some piety with turning things into plants. I feel like our armor is pretty high right now, and I need more fighting. My HP doesn't feel that good. Of course, we still want to keep going on that shield, since it's reducing our evasion and our accuracy, and I believe our attack speed as well. And of course, you know, as you train it, you get a bunch more shield points. Whoa, that's a few too many. Okay, we're trapped here? No, I can step east. Where would I go from east? This is a good spot if I can get there. It's going to be a little bit tricky with the blink frog, but because he's fast, right? But he's going to blink around enough that I think it's fine. He'll make some dumb plays. He'll hit us once or twice, but it shouldn't be a big deal. There we go. And now we'll just hold down tab. Great. Problem solved. There's still a bunch of yaks down there, actually. Let's try a different staircase. Oh, these two are connected, huh? How did... See, this is wrong. This happens every so often, and I don't know what causes it. But it's showing me the map as if I had been here, which I clearly haven't. What space... So the way that the bug, as I understand it, manifests is it chooses a space and pretends that you stood there and then gives you vision of the map. So what one space has this kind of profile on it? There's no place obvious to me. Maybe here? No. So then we would see this. This? That sees most of those places, but not all of them. But like it would see here, right? So what about this? No. This? No, that doesn't see up here. Something in here? No. That's weird. This doesn't match the way that I have seen this bug manifest before. Huh. Because I can't find one spot where you could stand and see exactly this stuff. There's a bunch of really like, what space can see all four of these, but none of these, right? It doesn't make sense. There's nothing like that. So, okay, I clearly still don't understand what's going on with that bug as well as I thought I did. We can pull 3x upstairs, no problem. Remaining are 5 yaks and a water moccasin? Yeah. Should be fine still. Oh, we've got some nice toadstools blocking our backs, I guess. HuAs has got our back. We're getting a lot of piety from this. Okay, so that giant spore is just gradually spreading mayhem, it looks like. Which is fine. Not really having much of an impact, but I suppose it's nice. This polar bear is refusing to take any damage. Yeah, he's berserk, but we have the shield of the gong. See you later, giant spore. And I'll fight all this stuff down here so that I'll have some corpses to work with if I want to make spores or something. Is there like an ice cave down here and I just didn't notice? Have I not been noticing notifications about ice caves? I don't think that's true. Maybe, oh, it's that like ice statue in a lake vault, maybe? That could explain all the ice themed stuff. Yeah, let's make a few mushrooms. Sometimes when I'm when I am playing here and like I'm sort of out of things to when I'm sort of lacking for things to say, like as I've mentioned to you guys, at least when I'm recording by myself, I usually have music playing. Wow, hello. I don't want to force anyone else to listen to my music, so I don't record it. But it's nice. Oh, what happened to the, did everything here die? No. Let's step back, and then let's reproduce all this stuff. Yes. Yeah. See you later, Lindworm. Okay, but we do want to train some invocations so that that's a little bit more reliable to do. And I'm still training long blades, even though I'm using a short blade, because I want my short blades to get to like 12, and they will eventually if I train long blades long enough. But it'll take quite a while if I'm just training long blades. I don't know. It's fine. Let's just back up here and evolve one of these things. This. I like this one. That ought to really finish it off, I think. It'll help anyway. Oh, FedHouse is fun. Anything else going on in there? It seems to be just the... You know what? We'll just leave this area for now. We'll come back later when the dust has settled to collect the loot. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I was saying I have music playing, right? And every so often I'm like, I'm not really, like I'm at the end of a sentence and I'm not really saying anything. And then there's like some music going and I'm like, I almost catch myself singing along. And I'm like, that would be kind of confusing, wouldn't it? Let's go ahead and reproduce all this junk too. Yes. There goes the freezing wraith. And this area is suddenly a gigantic fungal colony. Let's... I don't know. Do I need to lure these guys? Does it help to lure them? Not really. When these things aren't hyperactive, when they're just ordinary active, they don't really help a lot. Let's go ahead and evolve this one, and then step out of the blast radius. What is this? Oh, wandering mushroom. All right. Yeah, it's exploding a lot, sure. Let's step in there just to step through. And it's done. It's emptied. It's used up all its spores. Ah, lair in review is what this vault is. You just sort of see some of everything that you would run into in lair, sort of one at a time, or in small groups, I guess. Let's go up here, a slightly better area to be, because there's, oops, I was going to say, because there's only one monster at a time, but I was wrong. I really wish I had, like, blinking or something. So we'll just cheat our way through the mushrooms, or whatever these are, yeah, ballistomacetes. And if I can pull just one elephant upstairs, I would like that. There's always some concern that you get trampled, and then can't take the stairs. But I had backup plans. Oh, that's nice. They made Lindworms red. That's recent. Red because they're a fire threat. I think it's recent. I know they did it to fire dragons a while ago. They used to be green. But it didn't make sense when like most fire threats were red. It looks like we lost him, actually, surprisingly. And you can see that gradually this level has really blossomed into a haven for plants. The lindworm drowns. Good work, giant spores. You confused him and he drowned. This place is... It's a... What's the word I'm thinking of? Not a wasteland, it's a war zone. Just giant spores blowing up everywhere. So it looks like it's an effect that just takes a while. At least if you don't create a ton of spores. But it happens eventually, and now like this level is rather hostile to enemies and they get killed just at random. I'd like it to not blow up on me though, please. I think it won't. It just sort of wanders around and only blows up when it finds an enemy, basically. Normally, that enemy... Well... Oh, it grew right next to me. When you are playing as a non-Fedhas worshiper, all these monsters basically don't exist. But it used to be that they were just ordinary monsters that like you would see giant spores or ballistomacetes or something in the dungeon as a matter of course. And it was just a real pain for like auto explore and so on. You had to go like searching through. Why will this giant spore not blow up? You had to like go when just one spore went off, the whole floor was just infested, and you had to go searching for the remainder of the fungal colony and clear it out. It was just like a pain in the butt. So it's good that they changed that. But the monsters are still there so that Fedhas can use them. And they are fun to use as a Fedhas worshiper. And so like that's the reason that you used to have to clear out the fungal colonies, is because if you don't, the floor would turn into this. Just spores everywhere, blowing up on you anytime you try to walk through. We could make an Oclob, I suppose, up say here. Oh, that's a fungus. Here. That's another fungus. I like this one. That ought to help quite a bit. Just one Oclob will make a big difference. Yeah, it's more frightening enemies coming up. I still don't want to fight even just these two by themselves, honestly. Do I have any useful buffs? I have 1 haste, 2 agility. Those are good. Maybe I'll just use an evocable item, like a box of beasts. A larval stingbat beast. Could be worse, I guess. Although it's hard to see how. The main damage dealer here is the Oclob plant. He is really doing work. In addition to damage, he's corroding the enemies, which helps a lot. Yeah, good work, Oclob. So like that's what god abilities are about, is like they can really simplify a difficult situation if you aren't too reluctant to use them. Just one Oclob provides a ton of leverage on this rather difficult vault filled with scary monsters. And this is sort of the style that Fedhas encourages, putting down traps and coming back later over and over to reuse the same traps on new monsters. Which is a tedious style of play, and so I don't like to go Fedhas that often. But it is fun on occasion. It's a lot like... Yeah, no, let's convert that. And just eat some bread. I don't remember what I was saying. Something about god abilities. It's kind of like having permanent summons in a way, which normally you don't have, right? Summons disappear after a while. But these HuAs summons, specifically the Aklob plant, as long as you don't like get them too involved in the heat of battle, he's gonna sit there for a long time, and they can heal as well. I hear an explosion. That's interesting. A Book of the Warp.
Huh. Recall could actually be somewhat useful for use with Wandering Mushrooms. Summon Forest, I'm sure HuAs would approve of, but it's not that exciting. Warp Weapon is kind of a fun one, but this is all like sort of beyond us at the moment. We might someday do this, but it's going to be a long time.
Let's go check out that worm vault now. See if things have been cleared up and if the loot is now available to be grabbed. What was that? Something weird happened on my screen just then when I started moving. I think it was weird animation effects from the Ballista Mesite exploding like while I was auto-traveling. Really, there's something alive in here. Who would have guessed? Not me. It looks like they actually took care of all the fungus. Good for them. I really want to kill the torpor snail. Let's zap a wand of acid at him. Got him. Okay. I didn't want to be slow while fighting a giant leech who can heal from attacking me, right? Every time he hits me, it not only does damage to me, it makes the fight longer so that he can hit me again. So I just didn't want to be slowed for that. It looks like we did clear up most of the enemies in this vault, though. Scroll of Summoning. Good to have, I guess. Go. So still seeing some lag. Still not sure what the deal is with this ice beast. There's clearly... Yeah, here it is. Here's the lake vault with the ice statue in the middle. Yeah. I could fly to get there. But I don't really want any of that stuff too badly. Like, the sack of spiders would be good, but it's not a big deal. We'll just leave that stuff alone. The giant spore is stuck. All right. And here is the dragon, the final worm, W-Y-R-M-E of this vault. Not E, Y-R-M. There used to be a plant here, but I guess it's gone. Which is too bad. I wouldn't have minded an Aklob plant. What is this? A plant? Yeah, sure. There's a dragon in here that I don't want to mess with by myself. Maybe a little bit excessive, but we have plenty of fruit. And I expect to continue to have plenty of fruit. Okay, we finished up the lair, so let's just head back out to dungeon and call it a video, assuming we make it out alive. And the Shield of the Gong didn't do anything too bad to us that episode, which was nice. Okay, we did it. We're out. We're done with the lair. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.